Welcome to Spotlight on Health on 96.1 Joy FM, Western New York's only weekly health talk radio program, sponsored by Mercy Hospital, Dent Neurologic Institute, Dr. Lonnie Berkman at LifeCell DX, Hemophilia Center of Western New York, Spotlight on Hope, the Hemostasis Thrombosis Lab of Western New York, and Success Stories. And now the host of Spotlight on Health, Tom McNulty.
Good morning, one and all, and welcome to another informative session of Spotlight on Health on 96.1 Joy FM. I'm your host, Tom McNulty. Our producer is Dale Musson, and we're always very happy that you are joining us as loyal listeners since 2003. Our mission has always been to bring important health, medical, and behavioral health information to you so that you're aware of the issues. I often hear from listeners that the information we provide, they pass on to a neighbor, a coworker, a fellow family member, or a friend. And so we always advise keep a paper and pencil handy, because no doubt the information we provide today will help someone. We're very happy to have in our studios this morning Tessa Kirst. Tessa is a New York State licensed mental health counselor. Tessa, welcome to Spotlight on Health.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here today. We often do a lot of programs on behavioral health because, as you know, the interface now between behavioral health and medical is coming closer and closer, and physicians and anyone in the healthcare industry is really looking at the whole person to find out what's going on in their lives, what's going on with them medically, to really understand their emotional well-being too. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Well, I've been working, I have 14 years of experience working with children, adults, families with parenting concerns, depression, anxiety, ADHD. So the therapies that I use include cognitive behavioral therapy, mindfulness, motivational interviewing, solution-focused therapy, parenting, life coaching.
That's a big one
just to name some. Yeah.
It's really matching up what works best with the patient in front of you, the family in front of you, to know how they're going to respond to what type of solutions that you want them to discover. And I think a lot of the claims that people have about going to a therapist is the therapist is going to fix me. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. But you mentioned families, and I know there's a growing concern that the family is kind of breaking down in so many ways. Even the ones that happen to stay together are breaking down. They're struggling. They're fragmented. They're going in different directions. And it's often referred to as my family is dysfunctional. You'll even hear people say that. Mm-hmm. What are your comments about how you define a functional family? And I'm interested in your thoughts on really the status of family today.
Well, dysfunctional families is actually defined as families dealing with conflict and misbehavior, child neglect, and even abuse that is continuously happening and may encourage other people in the home to act or behave in the same manner. Mm-hmm. Now, these kind of behaviors are typically displayed by individuals that are struggling with mental health illness or addiction concerns, or have even experienced trauma of a sexual, physical, or emotional nature in the past or currently.
I often used to say that a family that has someone suffering is like having someone with a broken leg, but yet the family limps as well until that person's healed. Do you find that it's never really one person? It is a system breakdown?
Absolutely. When there are things happening, say, with an adult in the home, it certainly affects everybody else in the home. And the same is with a child. If there are a lot of behavioral problems going on with, say, the 5-year-old in the home, it's
right.
affecting the 15-year-old because the 15-year-old maybe misses a sporting event or a dance because the parents are trying to control whatever may be going on with the younger child.
Right.
Just an example.
Yeah, I often hear parents talk about how they feel that the one individual kind of manipulates the direction of the whole family, and it builds a lot of resentment and anger. And it seems to just complicate the family, much further. When they come to you, Tessa, what kind of state of affairs are they usually in?
Well, like you said, they want a fix. They're coming to you for answers. Like, how do I get things back in control? We've lost control of the situation. We want things to be stable again. We want everybody to be happy. Help me be a good parent. Help us be a functional family.
Yeah, I hear a lot of folks say, too, help us learn to talk to one another.
Absolutely. Things get out of hand. Families, when things are really dysfunctional, you forget how to be nice to each other. Mm-hmm. How to talk to your family the way that you want to be talked to. Mm-hmm. Things become really negative.
The tradition, and call me an old goat about this, but the idea of certain times where the family needs to be together. That used to be dinner, and I understand that kids are more involved and working parents are more involved with different things, but there doesn't seem to be family time anymore. Do you see that in your practice, that there's just not time where the family is really together?
Often you see parents and families aren't able to have, like you said, the family dinner because there's always somebody else doing something else, or the parents are trying to, as we said before, control maybe behaviors that are going on with one of the other children. Parents are out of the house working.
Right.
There's a lot of different things that are going on where families aren't able to have those family dinners or those family functions like we used to be able to do.
You mentioned trauma, too, that a lot of folks are exposed to trauma, and that becomes, in some cases, it's the secret that's hidden in the family closet. In other cases, it's very open and violent. Help our audience understand, really what is trauma and how does it impact us?
Okay. Well, trauma is different for everybody. It's essentially the way that you are able to cope with an incident that happens. Mm-hmm. Something that I may find traumatic might not be traumatic for you at all. Mm-hmm. But some examples or some things that people may have difficulty coping with might include being bullied, being in a war, witnessing violence, being in a car accident, witnessing family members struggle with mental health, illness, or addictions, and loss, even loss of pets, loss of family members. And again, like I said, it's different for everybody. It's your perception, your ability to cope with whatever it is that's happening.
There's certain trauma research going on right now, as you know, that says the degree of trauma you experience can also impact your physical well-being and in essence, how long you live. So the trauma that kids are exposed to, that adults and teenagers are exposed to, also has lifelong, no pun intended, but lifelong consequences.
Absolutely.
What kind of things can result when you see the dysfunctional family and the trauma not getting any better? Where does it tend to lead to?
Well, it can lead into concerns with self-esteem or depression, anxiety, struggling with addictions, mental health illness. It can lead into mental health illness, learning difficulty, relationship issues, parenting struggles, job troubles, inability to cope, and even possibly becoming an abuser. Two of the most common concerns, though, are depression and anxiety that you see in relation to dysfunctional families.
How do they tend to manifest themselves?
Well, there is some overlapping in adults and children, but typically signs that you'll see in a child would include change in academic performance, withdrawal, irritability, drug use, alcohol use, and change in friends or activities. signs that you might see in adults would be drug use, alcohol use, relationship problems, work concerns, change in sleeping patterns, and self-esteem issues.
Excellent. When we come back, I'm going to talk a little bit more about when is just an episode of depression or an episode of anxiety one stage versus something that is repetitive and really needs some attention from a professional like yourself. Today we're talking with Tessa Kirst. She's a New York State licensed mental health counselor. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Let's face it, our children find their way to things they probably shouldn't be eating, and all it takes is a blink of an eye. Then the stomach ache starts. And when that ache or something more serious surfaces, I need help. They understand much more than stomach aches. They know if there's a reflux issue, liver concerns, celiac disease, Crohn's disease, jaundice, irritable bowel syndrome, and more. They are specialists and can really zero in on what's going on. They also guide me on matters of nutrition and how certain food groups might play a role in a problem. I can tell you this, as a mom, I feel more informed when I leave Western New York Pediatric Gastroenterology, and I love that they have evening and weekend hours. So next time you blink your eye and the moans and groans from your child start, call your pediatrician and ask about Western New York Pediatric Gastroenterology. Find them on the web at wnypedgi.com or call 585-250-4132. That's 585-250-4132. Get the answers parents should have. Western New York Pediatric Gastroenterology.
Oh, another headache. So much to do, I can't focus. There has to be someone that can help.
And there is. Hi, I'm Dr. Laszlo Metzler, Director of the Dent Headache Center. If you have a pounding, throbbing, and aching headache that keeps coming back, you're not alone. Headaches affect the lives of 30 million people in the United States. Chronic headaches and migraines is a major cause of missed school and work. But the fact that you have headaches doesn't mean that you have to lose control of your life. Contact your primary care physician to find out if a visit to the Dent Headache Center is appropriate. We'll evaluate your headache history, lifestyle factors, and triggers and create a regimen to decrease and ultimately eliminate your headaches and migraines. We also offer our patients research studies for the treatment of their headaches.
Finally, the help you need. Call the Dent Headache Center today at 250-2000. What do you have to lose other than your headache pain? Your health, your choice. Choose Dent. 250-2000. Visit the Dent Headache Center today for a better tomorrow.
Spotlight on Hope, Inc. is a non-for-profit organization utilizing the creative arts of theater, film, television, radio, music, word, dance, and photography to advance health, medical, behavioral health, and social information to identified audiences and targeted markets. Does your organization need a new look? Tired of the same old PowerPoint presentations? Let Spotlight on Hope orchestrate a presentation that brings new life and energy to your message. The creative staff of Spotlight on Hope will develop the right production to reach your objective. Call 481-4578. That's 481-4578. What are you waiting for? Get in the spotlight today. Spotlight on Hope, 481-4578.
We're back. Thanks for staying with us. You're listening to Spotlight on Health on 96.1 Joy FM. I'm your host, Tom McNulty. Our producer is Dale Musson. Today we're talking with Tessa Kirst. Tessa is a New York State licensed mental health counselor, and we'll be giving out her contact information. Chances are you know someone who could benefit from some help, some intervention, someone to talk to. And Tessa, during the break, we were talking how depression now is actually the number one reason people are calling in sick to work. It's not a backache, a stomach ache, it's not even hangover. It's depression. Either they have a depression that they're suffering from, or they're caring for someone, maybe a spouse or an older parent or a child that is suffering from depression. What are some of the typical things that we might look for in someone that is depressed? And what's the difference between having a bad week and someone who really needs treatment?
Well, some of the typical symptoms, as you said, would include fatigue, decreased energy, excessive guilt, sleep difficulties, eating problems, like eating more than normal or less than normal,
and sleeping
more or less. Increased sadness or anxiety, feelings of being empty, like not having a purpose, and persistent aches and pains. And again, these are, as you said, not just a bad couple of days or a bad week, but these things are every day, all day long for a period of time with no end in sight. Like, you're not coming out of it. You're not finding happiness. You're not finding joy in events that you would typically find joy in.
And how long should that be before you turn to someone and ask for help?
It's everyone's choice. If you have those moments, it's pretty typical for you to have, a week here or there that you're a little less happy than normal, then that's fine. But if it's completely out of the ordinary for you to be experiencing that or feeling that way, you might call pretty early on and having those feelings.
They say, too, that sometimes if it goes beyond 2 weeks, as you said, of that constant daily feeling, that chances are you're not going to have what it takes to come out of that, and you should seek help. Also, another sign is if it gets to the point where you're not functioning, like you said, you're not eating, you're not going to work, you're not doing the things that you enjoy, you have no energy to do very basic things, then that's going to be pretty tough for you to just all of a sudden snap out of it, and you need professional help.
Yeah, supports. Another thing, you can look for supports through natural sources as well, like your friends, your family, utilizing the church and support groups, speaking. But as you said, if you're not getting through it in a couple of weeks or so, you probably want to look into speaking with your medical doctor or a mental health professional.
Right. We talked a little bit about children, too, and children seem today more vulnerable than ever to what they witness, what they see on television, what they hear about when they hear about buildings falling down, bombs blowing up. Certainly the news about the wars and violence and drive-by shootings and all those things. And then they go off to school where they might be picked on and bullied or intimidated or fearful of school. Talk a little bit about kids today and how they deal with that trauma or what's going on with them.
Well, things today, I think, are a lot more complicated than they were when we were kids. You have access to a cell phone constantly.
Well, that alone, yeah.
With the internet and ability to blog or tweet, or everybody knows when somebody's going to the bathroom, or whether you're having dinner with your family or a friend, or if you're at the movies, everybody knows everybody's business immediately.
Yeah.
There's no space, no privacy. So people might even maybe tweet an incident that they're really upset about and think right after they tweeted it, I guess I wish I wouldn't have shared that. They're sharing a lot of private information because it's easy to do. Whereas when I was a kid, you have to make a phone call and you have to wait for somebody to pick up the phone. And in the meantime, you might talk yourself out of sharing whatever you were upset about. You have moments to think about what you're going to do, whereas now everything is instant.
Right.
It's easy, accessible.
And as you're saying that, I think kids are brutal sometimes because they don't have to have that face-to-face contact with the use of technology, whether it's sexting or cyber abuse. They can send very vitriolic messages out to someone and really, really hurt them, where in my day and Dale's day, you go out in the schoolyard and you duked it out, and next time you were playing ball again together with each other, it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
But today it becomes very, very hurtful, and kids end up isolating themselves, and it becomes more severe. Would you agree?
I agree. And it's a lot easier, too, for a lot of people to get in on it. And they use fake names. And you might not even know who the person really is because they have these, code names online.
Right.
And it's not even the person that they're really saying it is.
So if we have a mom or family listening today, you do work with children and teenagers?
Absolutely. Children, teenagers, adults, family therapy, all of it.
When you see the teenagers, which is a little bit more of an advanced trauma, if you will, it tends to be more emotional than the younger kids. Not to say that they can't be bullied as well, but they tend to have more difficulty with it and start thinking of thoughts of suicide or running away or doing some harm to themselves. Cutting behaviors are really at epidemic rates now with especially young girls. The eating disorder issue of I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I don't fit in. Your thoughts on how adolescents are dealing with things today?
I think that as we were saying, it's harder. Mm-hmm. It's harder for everybody. And adolescents, they're having a difficult time like choosing people to trust, knowing who they can trust, because everybody's in their business. And as I said before, you may not even know who it is that you're really talking to. So what parents can look for is a change in friendships, a change in experiences, or change in their activities,
right?
Spending time by themselves. Change in their mood. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. If you know your child the best, typically. So if you are seeing your child act a lot different than normal, and again, it's going on for a period of time, you're going to start to ask questions. As a parent, you want to ask your child questions. Mm-hmm. Talk to your kid first.
Right. And then you'll know if it's time to get help. We're talking today with Tessa Kirst. She's a New York State licensed mental health counselor. Get out that pencil and paper. When we come back, we'll give you contact information. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
When a heart attack hits, you need high-quality care quickly. And that's exactly what you'll get from the Catholic Health ER Network, which brings nationally recognized cardiac care closer to you. Every location of this 6-hospital network is staffed with expert cardiologists and backed by the Heart Center at Mercy Hospital, whose coronary surgery program received the highest rating from the Society of Thoracic Surgeons, and whose interventional cardiology program was rated in the top 10% nationally by Healthgrades. And Mercy boasts the only team in Western New York that uses the Da Vinci robot for open heart procedures. Choose the Catholic Health ER Network for care that's close to your heart. For a physician referral, call Health Connection at 447-6205 or visit chsbuffalo.org. Catholic Health. Closer care. Closer to recovery.
That's a baby. We both want to have a baby, but it hasn't happened.
We get into this question, is it you, is it me, but no answers from the docs.
I'm stressed out. We've seen 3 doctors and so many options to think about.
But then we heard about Dr. Lonnie Berkman and LifeCell DX, and we realized we did not have all the critical answers.
We went together to the free consultation, and Dr. Berkman explained everything LifeCell DX had to offer. We asked our personal questions. The simple test and answers were at LifeCell DX. We talked it over with Dr. Berkman and brought the test results to our doctors.
Now, we're ready to make some informed decisions about surgery and other treatments.
What is more precious than being parents to a baby? The advanced semen analysis is only offered at LifeCell DX. With this detailed report, you'll know the effects of nicotine or other chemicals. You'll know if he is fertile. Why go day in, day out without answers? Call Dr. Lonnie Berkman at LifeCell DX today, 716-408-3306, or toll free 866-999-3296. LifeCell DX is located in Amherst, New York. Call 716-408-3306 or toll free 866-999-3296.
We're back. Thanks for staying with us. You're listening to Spotlight on Health on 96.1 Joy FM. I'm your host, Tom McNulty. Our producer is Dale Musson. Today we're talking about families, kids, trauma, stress, depression. It is kind of all around us. We all know families that are going through difficult times. And it's the very progressive, health-conscious, caring parents who do know that when it's time to reach out and get some help. It may start with a primary care physician visit or a visit to the pediatrician, who will then make some recommendations about getting some mental health support. Our guest today is Tessa Kirst. And before we go on, Tessa, please share with our audience what's the best way that they can get a hold of you if what we're talking about does strike a chord, or they know someone who needs help?
Well, I am located at the Counselor's Corner, which is in Sheridan Meadows Corporate Park South on Sheridan Drive in Williamsville. It's 6265 Sheridan Drive, Suite 122. But I can be found on Psychology Today website, contacted by phone or email. My phone is 204-5552, extension 445. My email address is Tessa Kirst, LMHC @gmail.com.
And we'll give out that information again if you can't write really fast. So the doctor has a visit with a patient they've known for a while, or might be a new patient, and they come in and say, things just aren't right. I feel lousy, our family's fighting all the time, or my teenage son is doing this, my daughter won't talk to me. And then the physician makes sure that it's nothing physical, that there's nothing physically going on, and make a referral to you. What typically is the first step? Does it start with an evaluation of some kind?
Yeah, first I want to start out by just saying I'm a mom. Okay. I know what moms are going through. I know what it feels like to go through, not to know what's going on with your kids or be worried about your kids. But first of all, the doctor might refer you. You might Google me. I'm on Google searches, or you can find me, like I said, in Psychology Today. And you're probably going to call me or email me. And if I don't answer, I'll follow up with you. I typically follow up within 24 hours and during the business days.
Right.
I'll contact you. I'll schedule an appointment for you to come in, and we'll do what I like to call the intake, which is basically about an hour of your time, just getting to know what the situation is, what the concerns are, what you're looking for, what you're hoping to accomplish. What is going on that you even came in for the day.
So you kind of get a handle of why the person is there. Do you find sometimes people can't really open up, or they're a little timid and you have to help them get the ball rolling?
Yeah, I mean, there are certain things that I ask, and certain ways that I ask things that it helps people feel comfortable. I mean, you're coming in and you're sitting in a comfortable space. There's soft lighting, comfortable seating. You're not sitting on a hard leather couch and I'm, standing over you talking to you and trying to fix whatever the problem is. It's a conversation that you might have with a friend, very similar to that. When I'm first starting to get to know you, I'm trying to help you feel comfortable, and I'm trying to get to know the situation so I can provide some insight and we can work on whatever it is that you want to work on.
Some of the important information might include, though, a medical history, previous treatment histories.
Absolutely.
Knowing what kind of medications they might be on right now. Are they taking anything for their depression, anxiety? So I guess what I'm saying for our listeners is that evaluation, that assessment is the beginning of getting to know the person, but there is some fundamental history and technical information about their background and surgeries and all that kind of stuff that's important too.
Definitely. And there's also a question about family history. What if there's a family history of mental health illness or addictions? And I'm going to want to know that with the child as well, or the teenager or the adult, if you have any addiction concerns, because alcohol and other sort of addictions can change a person's behavior as well.
It definitely changes it. Today we've been talking with Tessa Kirst. She's a New York State licensed mental health counselor. Once again, Tessa, how can our listeners get a hold of you?
You can find me on Psychology Today. My email address is tessakirst@lmhc@gmail.com, and my phone number is 204-5552, extension 445. If you want like a transcript of the interview today, I can provide that to you. If you email me any additional questions, just get in touch with me.
Great.
And I do have evening appointments available.
Oh, that's important. Well, thank you, Tessa, so much for being a guest today on Spotlight on Health. We wish you tremendous success, and thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Spotlight